Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and today we're going to replace and repair a broken level wind feature on a 320 GTI Penn level wind reel. This reel came into me with missing pieces. It had a missing pawl cap as well as the pawl itself, and more importantly it came in with a broken gear, level wind gear, the little plastic transition piece between the spool and the worm gear, and I guess it became disabled. Somebody just pulled the pawl and the cap off, thinking maybe that was it, lost it, whatever. At any rate, I'm going to show you how to reassemble this and get it back to working. So I've gone ahead and done some stuff already. I've pulled the side plate screws from the reel. I actually have rebuilt the inside of this reel while we were waiting, servicing the drags and the bearings, taking the spool out. And I've also removed the clicker assembly, because you have to remove the plastic clicker assembly in order to take the plastic drive or transition gear off. So I've gone ahead and ordered the parts. I got them from penparts.com. I ordered a replacement pawl, a replacement cap, and a replacement gear. So this is the gear that broke. It's plastic, and as a result, in this case, it had chipped teeth that were just missing, and it got stuck to the point where it was missing the chipped teeth, and the gear couldn't drive because it couldn't grab any teeth to move that. So that belongs in the back, but you can't get there unless you take out the click assembly. So we're going to reassemble this. I'll show you how it goes. I can't show you the front end of the process because I've already taken it apart, but what I can tell you is that it's a fairly common reversal of what was just done. So I'm putting a little bit of grease on this plastic wheel. I'm also going to put a little bit in the teeth just to keep it lubricated. Now, you don't have to get all the teeth here. You can get just some of the teeth. We're going to go put that over the hub. I'm going to make sure it meshes into the worm gear teeth, which it does. And then there's a little washer and a screw that goes in the washer that's going to hold this thing centered so that it can work. So I don't have my gloves on today. Many of you know I like to work with the gloves, but in this case the cleaning's already been done, but more importantly, these small pieces are very difficult for me to work in here with gloves on. Okay, so I'm just going to center that over. We're going to get that set screw into the hole in that hub. Easier said than done. Okay, we're working that screw into the center of the gear now, which goes into that plastic hub. We're going to make sure that it turns freely. We also want to make sure that when we turn that gear that the worm is turning underneath, which it is. So we've fixed that portion of the issue. Now we will reinstall the click mechanism. This is a plastic click mechanism, and it simply goes in over the top of the clicker and sits on the two little nubs centered, and then there's a little screw that goes in here. So another one of my personal problems with little screws. So I'm going to grab that. We'll set this screw in. That resets the clicker mechanism. Oh, we should be able to set that. Before I do, I want to just put a little bit of oil on the bearing in the back here. And reset the spool now. We're going to turn the spool and make sure that the worm drive is turning, which it is. So now we're down to just repairing the pawl. So I'm going to put a little drop of oil on that inside the pawl carrier here. Oh, spool fell out again. There we go. Now this is the pawl carrier, which was removed and lost or gone overboard or whatever may have happened. Just a drop of oil in there, Then the new pawl. The pawl is a forked piece of metal on a cylinder that rides in the channels of the worm gear. Put that in the assembly. And put the pawl into the level line mechanism. And it's usually not that easy to do, but you've got to get it set, and then you've got to kind of work it, usually because the forks will not align immediately with the holes in the worm gear. So you just want to kind of work it until you feel it's working properly. Okay, now if we turn the spool, we should have a functioning level wind, which we do. Okay, now we'll finish this by reinstalling the side plate. We're going to put a little bit of blue grease onto the shaft of the spool. And as I mentioned previously, this side plate was rebuilt already, so we're in good condition with that. So all we need to do is line up the holes, press in. Before I even put the screws on, I'm just going to make sure that it's operable. There you go, look at that, huh? It's working the way it should. Okay, so now we're going to put the 4 side plate screws in. So there's a couple of tests you want to do as you're working with these reels if you do have a level wind problem. The most obvious one seems to be with these reels is if you have a plastic gear like this one, there's going to be teeth missing on the gear. So that's one cause to look at. The second one is going to be a damaged pawl. And those forks I was showing you, if they break a tip, they're not going to track properly. So eventually that will wear down. And the third one that you want to look at is missing pieces. We saw here that there was a couple of missing pieces in it. And then the fourth, I'm kind of going in terms of rarity versus most probable, but there might be missing teeth, bad teeth on the back of the spool, which is the second part of the drive. I didn't show you the spool drive teeth, but there could be bad teeth on the back of that spool. There can be bad teeth in the transition gear, and there can be bad teeth in the worm gear itself. So those are the more common ones. There's also a problem that I've seen from time to time where the worm gear is held in by a C-clip on the side, on this side, the non-gear side, and that C-clip is missing. And when that C-clip is missing, it causes that worm gear to go out of alignment and not track properly. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts to that level wind reel, and you need to check them all, but the most probable is that you're going to have a broken tooth in those plastic gears, followed by broken teeth on either the worm gear or the spool gear. And how does that happen? Most of the time it happens with broken line. So there'll be a piece of line or some other problem that gets into that moving mechanism, and it causes a pawl to bend, causes a resistance, and somebody will over crank and chip a tooth on the transition gear and so on. But right now we're all buttoned up here. We got a great reel. I'm sure my customer will be happy with this, and we'll move on to our next project. So I hope that showed you a little bit. It's not that difficult to do. You just need to know what pieces and parts you're looking for, and once you find them, simply taking it off, take pictures of them when you take it off so that you know where you remove the pieces and parts from. For example, on this there was 2 different side plate size screws. One for the click assembly was a little bit longer than the one that was for the transition gear. And you just need to make mental notes of that or take pictures so that you can go back and refer to them. But once you do that, it's pretty easy practice to go and finish up. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, please indicate it with a like on YouTube. If you want to see more of these types of projects and repairs, please subscribe to my channel as I post frequently. Again, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Thank you for watching.